Sorry, I'm working on getting my stuff ready for that. Huh, for that meeting tonight. Sorry about that. I saw you had not joined yet by your email address because that's how, you first signed up. And then
Yeah,
RD, and I'm like, okay, well, that's her boyfriend. That's cool. I'll just wait for her to come in and then he'll come in and then we'll all be all three in. And I didn't realize what you're doing. So it's no big deal.
you good.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. All right. You ready for all of this?
Yes.
It's going to be a lot, but I think you're gonna like it, and I'll try to keep it as brief as I possibly can so you get to work.
Okay.
Okay. So let me start off by kind of going through what we're going to be covering and all of that. So we're going to cover what the market is like. I've already, if I'm not mistaken, I've already set up a search for you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I've already gotten through that, so that'll take a little bit less time. I wanted to do that so that we wouldn't have so much time before you go to work. I'm going to help you to understand the best way that we can work together to make sure that everything is as seamless as possible. Okay. And then at the end of all of this, once we've gone through the market conditions, the type of loans, the pre-approvals and all of that stuff, plus the cash that you need to have, aside from, down payment and closing costs and all of that, we're going to go through the buying process. And then at the end of it all, I'm going to give you an opportunity to say, look, I either like what you have to say or I'm not really sure. If you like what I have to say, if you like the way that I present myself, then you can look at hiring me to be your representative to help you purchase a home. And if not, cool, no harm, no foul. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Fantastic. So right now the market is it's in kind of a correction phase, I guess is the best way to put it. um, Home values had gone up and up and up and up, and by about 2023 it kind of stagnated, and all of a sudden we started to see prices going down but values still being pretty much the same. And so what that means to me as an agent is in 2023, 2024, people still had it in their mind that their homes were worth much more. And so they have been putting their homes on the market for 25, 35, $50,000 more than what they're valued at. And of course, over time, they have to keep lowering and lowering the price until it gets sold. Okay. And so we're not really seeing a correction in the market. I know there's a lot of stuff on YouTube about, the possibility of a downturn or a crash. And that's not what we're seeing here in our area. What we're seeing here is kind of a flattening where the home values are starting to come down to what real market value is. And so you're seeing a lot of price drops and a lot of people that have had their homes on the market for, my gosh, some of them 120, 160, over 200 days.
Mm.
And they're finally getting sold because they're bringing those prices down. Sorry, my little light sometimes is
Oh no, you're okay.
possessed. I don't know what's wrong with it. I need to probably just exchange it or, get another one. Um, but anyways, what we're looking at is we're just looking at those prices dropping to what is normal for this market. Okay. That also means for you as a buyer that we're probably going to see some homes that are a little bit above value that have been on the market for a little bit that we might be able to, depending on the attitude of the seller and what their goals are, we might be able to get them to drop the price down. and we might be able to, use that to be able to make better negotiations. So I just wanted you to understand kind of where the market was. I don't really see any trepidation in terms of, oh my gosh, we should be fearful of this market because of the home values dropping like, like a rock. We're not seeing that. We're just seeing a correction. And it's really a correction based on the sellers and what they wanted, what they thought they could get, as opposed to what was really the market value. So that's that. All right. One of the things that I wanted to ask you to do for me, as much as you
Okay.
can, try to stay off of Zillow. Um,
Okay.
Here's the thing with Zillow, okay? And I don't know if you do. Do you know how Zillow makes their money?
Not really.
Yeah, nobody does. But I do. The way Zillow makes their money, every time you go on a search on Zillow, you're going to find homes that are active on the market. You're going to find homes that are sold and pending. That's pretty
Okay.
much how Zillow works. They're showing you everything from 6, 7 months ago to whatever's active now. You start to question, well, what about this house? Can I buy this one? Is this one active? You get confused and you click a link, and it's usually that person, that agent, that is their preferred agent, their premium agent, whatever they call it. I'm not one of those. And when you click on it, you end up filling out the information, and that agent calls you along with about 12 others.
Yeah.
They're selling your information to all of these agents. That's why I don't like Zillow.
Um,
Okay. And so it becomes very confusing. I had a customer, Olga. She came in from New York, and a sweet old lady. She was living in the back bedroom of her daughter's house, waiting to buy a house. And her and I had started working together. And all of a sudden, I get a call from her, and she's like chiding me on the phone. Like, how come all I see is homes on Zillow, and I don't see any of these homes on your website? And I'm like, look, Olga, chill out. Let's go ahead and get a cup of coffee, and let's figure it out. So we went and got a cup of coffee, and she had a book with all of these like lists of homes, and we started looking through them. And had my laptop open, and it was like sold, pending, pending, sold, sold, pending, pending. And I'm like, that's why you're seeing all these homes. You can't buy them.
yeah.
So once we got that squared away, I got her into a home 2 weeks later because
Wow.
now she was looking at homes she could actually purchase, and she wasn't wasting energy on homes that she wasn't going to be able to buy anyways. Okay. So
Hmm.
everything you do on the website, I see.
Okay.
Okay. So you favored a home. I see exactly what's going on. I know what you favored it. And when the time comes, I can adjust your search based on the things that you like or don't like. And we can have conversations about that on down the line. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now we talked a little bit about loans. VA loan is probably one of your prime loans because you're working with the military. Now I don't know if VA would cover you because you're a contractor. You'd have to
Yeah,
find
I
out.
don't yeah, I don't think they cover anymore.
Okay, I know they used to.
Yeah.
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 So if that's the case, then we have probably the two loans that would be the most appropriate for you would be FHA, which is a 3.5% down loan, and
Okay.
USDA, which is a zero money down loan. Okay. So with FHA and USDA, because you don't have as much skin in the game. So let's say, for example, you were going to get a conventional loan and you're going to put down 20%. You're putting a lot of money down, you know. You're putting a whole ton of money on a $200,000 home, you're putting 20 grand. And on a $400,000 home, you're putting 40 grand. And so they're expecting a little bit more, like they're going to give you a little bit more leeway on the home. If it's not perfect, if it needs some work, they're not going to worry about it. With FHA, because you're only putting 3.5% down, or USDA, zero money down, they're looking at that home just as much as they're looking at your finances. And so they're going to be very picky about the home that you purchase. And that could mean if, let's say, for example, the home has a septic system, that could mean having to pay for a septic inspection.
Yeah.
If the home has a pool, that could mean, paying for a pool inspection. And so those are the things you have to look at when you're looking at buying a home through FHA or USDA. The other thing with USDA is the home has to be in a USDA zone. Now, there's a
Mhm.
lot of USDA zones in the Polk County area. And the whole idea of this was the U.S. Department of Agriculture was commissioned by the federal government to try to get people out of urban areas and into either suburbs or country.
Yeah. I looked that one up. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but there's still, there's still like, there are areas in Winter Haven and in Lakeland and other places where, you're sitting right here in a USDA zone, and like right there is a no USDA zone. But all of this is built up. So it's not like they're out in the middle of nowhere. Okay. So you can still find homes in really nice areas but still in USDA zones. We just have to make sure we know what we're dealing with. And I can send you a USDA zone link for the
Mhm.
USDA zone map. I'm having to say USDA zone quite a bit and it's tiring. But I can send you a link so you can put an address in and then determine for yourself whether or not that's going to be, in the zone, if that's a loan that you get qualified for.
Okay. And what about like the liquidity loan? Like if you
Okay.
can like a I believe it's called like equity for like if it's a loan and then you can like take money out from the home.
Okay, that's only if, well, first of all, you don't own the home, so you can't take money out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a
Yeah, I know
liquidity
what you
loan.
mean.
It's a lot to say, especially on a Friday at 5 o'clock. But a liquidity loan would be, let's say, for example, you own the home and you'd already developed a lot of equity in it, and you
Mm-hmm.
wanted to liquidate some of that equity to be able to do something else with it. That's how that would work. But because you don't own the home, you're buying the home. Now you're counting on the bank to loan you that money because you have no equity in that house.
Okay.
Okay. Now, there are first time homebuyer programs, and I've got a couple of lenders you can talk to that will be able to set you up with, um, a first time homebuyer program that might be, worthwhile to you. If you qualify for one, then that could mean anywhere from 10,000 on up to 15 or $20,000 in assistance to buying your first home. Okay. And that's
Okay.
fantastic. That's going to save you a lot of money and it's going
Yeah.
to streamline the buying process.
Okay.
Okay. Um, do you have any questions about that?
Not at the moment.
No? Okay. I know you're just waking up, so.
Oh no, I'm up. I'm up.
All right. Um, Now let's talk about what you're going to need on hand as far as monies go. Not just
Okay.
for the down payment and closing costs, but for everything else. So we already know, and we're going to use an FHA loan as an example because that's probably, I'm going to say 80 to 85% of the loans out there are FHA. Okay. And so you know that that's going to be I'm sorry, a 3.5% down loan. Okay. Then you can count another 3 to 4% in closing costs, depending. Hopefully a
Okay.
little bit less. So we already know that for every $100,000, we're looking at 3,500 bucks for an FHA loan, and then at least at least 3,000 to $4,000 for closing costs. And again, I'm hoping this is going to be a lot less. Okay. So that gives you a pretty good idea of that. But then what happens when you go to write an offer? So you write the offer, and in the offer, you're going to put what you're going to give the seller as an escrow deposit, which is kind of a good faith deposit. Most of the time, we're looking at about $1,000. And I've had, believe it or not, I've had customers put 20,000. I had one customer on a $2 million house put 75 grand.
Mm.
Okay. Oh yeah, must be nice. Here's the thing. At one point, he asked me, he says, well, if I don't make up my mind about buying this house and we go past the timetable for me to get my escrow money back, how much do I lose? And I said 75,000. He goes, yeah, I can live with that.
Mm, one day.
So when you go to make that offer, we're going to know ahead of time. We're going to have to know ahead of time how much you're willing to put as an escrow deposit. I'm going to be honest with you, most people put about $1,000.
Okay.
So you can figure on about $1,000 additional monies off to the side. Now, when we write that offer, we're going to have a length of time, 7 days, 10 days, 15 days, whatever we decide, for inspection period. So during that time, whatever you choose, as long as you stay within that time, you can cancel that contract and get your money back, your escrow deposit back, for any reason or no reason at all. Okay. So the reason I tell you that is because let's say, for example, we find a house you absolutely love. We go 10 days for the inspection period, and then the inspector comes up 4 days later and says, there is something majorly wrong with this house. It's
Mm,
about to, fall into a sinkhole or whatever the case may be. We walk away, wipe our hands, and go on to the next house.
okay.
Okay. And because we don't have to explain anything to them, we can just say we don't want the house. If God forbid, we haven't seen this happen in a very long time, but God forbid we start to see, more than one or two offers being put on the same house that we like, we can write offers on as many homes as you want during the time that we spend together. And if all of them, we write 5 offers and all of them are accepted, we can now choose the one that we want, that we like the best, and then rescind all the other offers.
Okay.
Okay, so that gives you the power, the control to be able to say, you know what, I like these 3 homes the best. And out of those 3, I like this the most, but because they all have offers on them, I'm going to put an offer on all 3 of them and see which one I actually get accepted and then go from there. And if all of them are accepted, you pick the one you want, you let the rest go. Okay? All right. Now, the next step in the process, the inspection itself, I really do recommend 2 inspections. I recommend a 4-point inspection, which covers the roof, the AC, the electrical, and the plumbing, plus anything else that the inspector might see that, could be a problem. And a WDO inspection. The WDO inspection is wood destroying organisms. And so that's going to be stuff like
Okay.
termites,
I'll put this in
um,
my notes. Give me one second.
WDO, wood destroying organisms. So that's going to be stuff like termites, carpenter ants, mold, mildew, fungus, anything that destroys the wood in the house. Remember, every block home still has wood in it somewhere, whether it's in the rafters, whether it's behind the walls. There's always wood that's used for something. And so if you have termites or mold or mildew or wood rot, we just need to know about it. So the the WDO is going to cost probably about $99 to $125, depending on who you choose. And
Okay.
the 4 points is going to cost probably around 350 or so.
Okay.
Okay. Now we get past the inspection period. Now bear in mind, all we're doing during the inspection period is we're having the inspector come out and we're having him check the house out and then give us a report. Then you and I are going to sit down, look at the report, and determine, what are the most important things to you as a buyer that you feel that you would like the seller to be able to fix for you. Keeping in mind that all homes in the state of Florida are sold as is with the right to inspect. So the
Okay.
seller doesn't necessarily have to fix a thing. They can say, nope, I don't want to do that. But if they have a fantastic buyer who's well qualified, and I usually, when I'm working with a lender, I usually ask them to call the listing agent and talk up my buyer and let the seller know that my buyer is fantastically qualified, that there's not going to be an issue in getting the loan closed, because that really goes a long way towards these kinds of negotiations. Okay. So now we've looked at the report and we've seen three or four things that are the most notable. Things that would be maybe dangerous, or things that you don't think you would really want to deal with. So I'll give you an example. I had a couple that put an offer on a house that had just been remodeled. The whole house had been remodeled, but they forgot to do one thing. They forgot to open the crawl space. And so there were
Mm,
bare wires, bare electrical wires touching the insulation, which that's a fire hazard.
that's a fire hazard. Yeah.
So we went to the seller and said, look, here's the pictures. There's wires touching the insulation. Those nice folks spent $1,500 and got it all taken care of for us.
Nice.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. We want to only look at the things that are the most important, the things that we really don't feel like we're going to be able to deal with. And we don't want a list of 50 things. We want a list of 4 to 6. Little things, I call them honeydew, honeydew lists, the stuff like a bulb burned out, or, something's loose. We can deal with that. I've got handymen that can deal with all of that for you. But the big stuff, that's what we really want to deal with. Okay. Now, during the inspection period, after you and I have discussed what we want the seller to do and they have okayed it, so we're going to have them sign a sheet of paper that says these are the repair requests, and they're okaying and they're going to fix all of that. So now we have everybody sign, everybody's in agreement. They still have until closing to make those repairs. So the repairs don't have to be made during the inspection period. They just have to be negotiated on during the inspection period. Okay. Now, the next thing that's going to happen after all of that is the bank is going to order an appraisal. Now, it used to be that the bank would pay for the appraisal. Now, the buyer has to pay for the appraisal. Yeah. And that's another 350 to $400.
Okay.
Okay. Now, we talked about this a little bit. Depending on who you use, I don't think either one of my lenders charges for a credit report. Some banks are charging $99 for a credit report. Some banks, depending on the situation of the buyer, they're asking for 2 or 3 months worth of reserves. Oh my gosh, that thing is driving me crazy. They're asking for 2 or 3 months of reserves. And so you are getting on my nerves. Uh, so that's something that we have to look at. It may not happen for you because your finances are so much better than a lot of those folks, but we'll just have to take it and play it by ear.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any questions so far?
Not at the moment.
Okay, so all this making pretty good sense,
Yes.
even at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
You are stellar. I don't think I could do that. Nothing makes sense to me that early. All right. So once the appraisal comes in, then the main thing that we have to look at is, did the house appraise for value or did it not? So let me ask you this. We put an offer of, I'm just going to give you a figure off the top of my head, 300,000. Okay.
Okay.
And the appraisal comes in at 275. What happens then? Do you have any clue?
I do not.
You do not. Okay. So at that point, we have to go back to the seller and say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we offered you 300,000 on that house thinking that that's what it would appraise for, but it didn't. It appraised for 275. Are you
It
willing
was.
to
It
move
dropped it
forward at
down.
275?
Yeah.
Because if not, we're going to have to walk away. Now, if it appraises for higher, then no harm, no foul. You just walked into money. I had a customer that bought one in right next to Legoland. I mean, like right next to Legoland in Winter Haven. Bought it for 450 and ended up it appraised for 485. So they walked into 35 grand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a beautiful deal. It was an absolutely stellar deal, and I negotiated the heck out of it because it was a divorce, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna rip this one up. and make it happen. All right. So do you understand what the difference is between market value and appraised value is?
Not really,
Okay.
but
Okay, so I'm going to give it to you in my favorite way. I was hoping you'd say not really so I could say this because I love doing this. All right, have you ever seen news articles or videos or whatever about something being sold, something stupid being sold on eBay, like a potato chip that looks like Michael Jackson or something like that? Okay, so you're a 15-year-old, I'm your dad. You saw a potato chip that looks just like Michael Jackson for 150 bucks on eBay. And you come to me and say, "Hey dad, I saw this potato chip for 150 bucks and I really want to buy it. Can you loan me the money?" And I'm like, "It's worth 2 cents. No, I'm not going to loan that to you. You are the buyer. I am the bank." Okay. The value to the bank is what the bank determines is the
it's
value of
worthy.
that
Mhm.
home. You are the
Okay.
consumer, you're the market. So the market said the home is worth, well, the potato chip is worth 150, but the bank said no, 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 we're not going to do that. Okay, so the difference is market value is what the consumer, you as a consumer, would buy the house for. Appraised value is what the bank would
It's the bank.
loan you to help you
Yeah.
buy the house. Okay. And so we have to make sure that our numbers line up because we don't want to put an offer that goes above appraised value. So we want to keep it within that. Now, if we end up with a home that's going to appraise higher than what you're offering, then you just walked into money, like I said. But I just wanted you to understand the difference and why the bank is going to have that appraiser come out when you've already determined for yourself what you thought you should pay for a house. Okay. Now, I'm going to be there to make sure you don't overpay. So here's
Okay.
how I'm going to do that. You're in town. We're going to start looking at homes. Every single home that we look at, I'm going to open the door. I'm going to let you walk around. I'm not going to follow you. I'm not going to be stupid enough to go, "There's the kitchen, there's the living room." Unless you're completely blind, you know what a kitchen or living room looks like. I don't have to baby you all the way through the house. So you go and you do your thing. Now, you get done, I'm going to ask you 4 questions, and I'm going to tell you what the 4 questions are, and then I'm going to explain them. So the first question is, what do you like about the house? The second question is, can you see yourself living there? The third question is, do you want to make an offer? And the fourth question is, where would you want that offer to start? So the first question, of course, what do you like about the house? I like the backyard. I like the kitchen. I like this. I like that. You're going to tell me whatever you like. Now, when I ask you the second question, okay, can you see yourself living there? You may go, "Yeah, but I don't know. I still want to look at the rest of the homes that are out there." Okay, so we'll go look at the rest of the homes. You may go, "Yeah, I can see myself living there." If you say that, then I'm going to ask you, would you like to make an offer? And again, you may tell me, "You know what, Vince, not just yet. I want to see the other homes on the schedule." Or you may say, "Yes, I want to make an offer." Either one is a good answer because you've been looking for a while. You know what you want. You've been looking at a ton of different homes. You know what appeals to you. And so at the end of the day, if you walk into the very first house and go, "My gosh, this is it. I'm falling in love right now," that's cool. And if it takes us 4 houses for you to find the one that you like, that's cool too. It doesn't matter to me. So let's just say that you saw the house, you fell in love with it, you said, "This is the one that I want." And I asked you, where would you like that offer to start? Now, the reason I ask that is not because I don't know how much the house is worth, but I want to see how much you like it. So the house is 300,000 and you say, "Man, I'm going to offer 350." I'm going to tell you, "No, the house is worth 300. We're going to offer 305 maybe, but not 350. You're going to get ripped off." So I'm going to be honest
Mhm.
with you and tell you what you need to hear, but that lets me know, yeah, she really loves this house. And I'll give you an example. I had a mother and a daughter, both adults. They were looking at buying a house together. And we'd been all over the place looking at homes. They didn't like anything they had seen, no matter what I showed them. And it wasn't like a ton of homes. I think it was like 6. And they were starting to get weary. They were getting tired. So at one point, they're like looking at this house and they're like, yeah, we'll put an offer. And I asked them how much they would offer. And they were like $40,000 less than asking. And I'm like, do you really like this house or are you guys just tired of looking? And they were both like, we're kind of tired of looking. And then why are you putting an offer on a house you don't really like? Let's
Yeah.
stop, take a break, and we'll come back to it later. So that's really why I ask these questions because it helps me to narrow your focus to the homes you absolutely love. I do not want you to have regrets after the fact. Okay. That's the worst thing in the world that can happen to you. You sign everything, you pay everything. The next morning you wake up and you're like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Okay. Asia, I don't want that for you. I want you to be happy.
Me
I
too.
want you to be confident. I want you to know that you found a house that you absolutely love. That's what we're looking for. Okay. All right. Um, let's see. I got my notes over here because I don't want to forget anything. All right. Got all. Okay. Fantastic. So, do you have any questions about anything that I've covered so far?
No, not at the moment.
Not at the moment. Okay. So, this is where normally I would talk to you about hiring me. Now,
Okay.
the main thing to remember about the way that real estate is being done since last August 2024, August 17th, um, they have decoupled the commissions. And I think we talked about that a little bit. Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. I don't know if I got to that because
Just
we're kind of like going
briefly.
through a bunch of stuff. But
Yeah.
basically, what they've done is they've said before the listing agent would go in to list a house, and he would negotiate a commission with the seller, and then the listing agent would take that commission and divide it in half. Half would go to that person, to the listing agent. Half would go to whoever brought the buyer. Okay. And now what they've done is they've said, okay, you can't do that. Now the listing agent negotiates with the seller for his commission, and then I negotiate with you for my commission. Okay. That's technically how it's supposed to work. That's not
Okay.
how it works in reality. And I knew this was going to happen because I know agents in Alabama, and they've been doing this for a long time. Nothing has changed. And I've seen now since August, nothing has changed. Sellers are still offering my commission. Buyers are not having to pay it because think about it. If you're a first time home buyer, you can't afford all of that. And
Yeah.
and that basically narrows that buying pool quite a bit. And so sellers understand that. And they're like, okay, I want somebody to bring a qualified buyer to my house. So they're still paying my commission. Now, the one thing that I try to explain to my buyers is the way that this has worked out is whatever I put in our buyer broker agreement, which is almost like a listing agreement, it's just an agreement between you and I that we're going to be looking at homes together. Whatever I put in that, I can go down, but not up. Okay. So if we put 3% and the seller is paying 2.5, I can create an addendum that says I'm going to go down to 2.5. No big deal. Okay. If the seller is going far below what I want to get paid, I can go to the seller and say, would you, I've got a great buyer here. Would you be able to go up 0.5% or a percent or whatever the case may be? Now, does that mean that if they won't pay me what I feel I'm worth, that I'm not going to show you that house? No, no. It may mean that I may ask you if you can afford to do it to pay me some, but for the most part, I don't think that's going to be an issue. Okay. So, what I've been doing with my buyers, if they're looking for brand new construction, I usually put in 4% and a $2,500 bonus because that's what the builders are giving. And if they're usually if they're looking for retail, then I'll go ahead and do 3% and leave it at that. Now, if you're not really sure whether you want to go with new construction or retail, I just do both. I just
Okay.
do this.
And when you say like
It's
new
more painful.
construction, are you saying like it's like the year the home is built or
What new construction?
yes.
So new construction would be homes that are in brand new communities that are either
Okay.
being built or have been built. Now we have to
Okay.
look, if you're wanting to get into something fairly soon, we just have to make sure that they're already built and that it's not a coming soon.
Okay. And I'm not
Because it
really
could
looking
take
for
months before
anything
they build. What's that?
that's I'm not really looking for anything that's like very up to date. Like anything built in like maybe like 2020 to 2025. I'm not really looking at that.
Okay, then that's not a big issue then.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
just, we just went through all of that for no reason.
Yeah, it's okay.
So at this point, do you like what I'm saying? Do you like how I'm handling things? Do you think you and I could work together?
Yes, at the moment. At the moment.
All right,
And just
fantastic.
yeah.
So when do you think you're actually going to want to pull the trigger on this?
Um, I would say maybe in like three months probably is
About 3 months?
or it's yeah, that's kind of like my deadline that I want to have it.
Okay. When are you going to be in Florida? Is it going to be in 3 months or going to be sooner?
No, it's I'm actually just buying it sooner so my mom can get in and do her thing in there. But I probably won't be back in the States until like December or January.
Okay. So
Yeah.
how do you want this to work out? Are we going to work together? Because I've done this before. I helped a guy in Texas buy a house in Florida just by walking through the house with a camera and taking video and explaining what everything was about. He was happy as all get out. So if you're confident that I'm going to help you get into a nice house, then I can do it that way for you. Um,
Okay.
Okay, so that's really going to be up to you. And I don't have a problem. Like, I'll go, I've got a really nice 4K camera. I'll go through and walk you through and make sure you see everything the way that it really looks. Okay, so that it's, presented realistically. Um, and if you want to make an offer on a house like that, that's fine. I just didn't know if you were coming into the States at any point before 3 months.
No, I'm just trying to get my mom situated into the new state.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
so do you have anybody here that can go with me on the showings?
Not currently, but I can try if we find like an official home, I can fly my mom out and she can walk do a walkthrough with you.
Okay, okay. So I guess the best way for us to deal with this then is you start looking at homes. It's going to take 30 days to close. That's a normal
Okay.
closing right now. So I want to get you in touch with one of my lenders, or actually two of my lenders, to see what they can do for you. Now you can choose any lender you want, doesn't really matter. Okay, so if you talk to them and then see that you can maybe find a better deal with somebody else, go for it. It doesn't hurt my feelings. Okay, I want what's best for you. If the lenders don't work with you, that's their problem, not mine.
Yeah.
So once we get you pre-qualified or pre-approved, then we're pretty much ready to go out and start looking at homes virtually. So you can start, I can start going out there once you start favoriting homes and we get you past that point of the process, then I can start going out and, previewing the homes for you. I can do a live, I can do a Zoom, like around this time, or I can record a video and send it to you, send a link like a YouTube link, however you want me to do it.
Okay.
Okay. Does that make pretty good sense?
Yes.
Okay. Um, I just want you to feel comfortable with whichever direction we end up moving in.
Okay, either or is fine. Zoom calls or, you know, videos, either or is fine.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and send you a buyer broker agreement for the 3% since we're not looking at new construction. We're just looking at regular, what they call retail homes. Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to send you that probably either later today or tomorrow. You go ahead and sign that. It's a standard. I usually do a 6 month because we never know what's going to happen. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and get you the information on both of the lenders. and let me know what they tell you. I mean, I'll stay in touch with them, but let me know what they tell you. If they say, yeah, you're pre-qualified for this, or you're approved for a buyer, a first-time home buyer program, whatever the case may be, that's going to help me to determine like where to put you as far as price point goes.
Price
Because what
wise, yeah.
I don't want you to be in a position where I can afford $1,800 a month, and we're going to get you right at $1,800 a month. You see what I'm saying? I'd rather say, okay, if the house is, with the down payment and with everything else, make this easy, $2,100 a month. Okay. But I can get you in a different house that's 1,800 and you can afford that. That's what I want to do. Because I don't want you to feel like you're choking at the end of the month every time you're going to make that payment. I want to
Mhm.
stay a little bit below and give yourself some breathing room. I'm not here to sell you the biggest, the baddest house in the world. I'm here to sell you something that's going to be a future investment, and it's
Yeah.
going to make you a very happy camper, and you're going to be comfortable and happy when you move in. Okay. Any other questions? Because I know you got to get going.
Um, no, but I can always text or email any concerns. Oh, I do have one. The website.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it the
YourMoveFlorida.com.
yes. Is it any way that I can like filter of what I'm looking for, or is just like you already kind of
Well, I
pre
set up a search for you, but you can adjust that search if you want.
okay, because most of the homes that I did see, they were all from like they were built in like 2024 or this year.
Okay, so hang on a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen once I get my screen up,
Okay.
and let's take a look at them. Okay. I didn't have my tab up, so hang on.
You're okay.
I I do a lot of web stuff, and I've got like three different websites that I look at or that I work with, and so um, there we go. All right, I'll share my screen in just a second. I'm waiting
Okay.
for it to come up. Um, Log in. Okay. Boy, give me a break. Hang on a second.
Hmm.
Why is it doing that? There we go. All right. So share the screen. Let me know if you can see it. Can you see that?
Yes, I see it now.
Okay. So um, let's take a look at your search and edit it. So I really didn't know. These are all built in 2000. So we want to go, what, older than 2000?
Um, anything, well, I'll say 2000 is okay. I just didn't want anything from like um 2020 to 2025. I just didn't want anything like that
That new.
new.
Right.
Yeah.
So why don't we do this then? Why don't we go as a max 2019? Whoops. Okay. And what would the oldest home, like what would you feel comfortable with? A home that was built in the 90s, like the mid
Yeah, I think
90s?
yeah, I'll say like maybe like mid 90s.
Okay. All right. And let's just make sure we have everything else the way we want it. I've got the heated square feet as 1,500 to 2,200 square feet.
Okay.
Um, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, less than a quarter of an acre, 275 to 325. That sound pretty good?
Yeah, the 275, you can bring it down some more.
Like 250?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep you away from some of the crappy homes. So
Okay,
we'll see how that
that's
works
fine.
out. Yeah, I just don't want, there's some of them that you're like, okay, that's just not going to work because that's nasty. All right, let's take a look and see what we come up with. So you got 80 homes to look at. So this one's in Davenport, Lake Davenport Estates,
Okay.
299, 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath house. Excuse me. Are these homes that you kind of like?
Yeah, these definitely look more of what I was looking for.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
That
what
that
I'm talking about.
yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. Oh, this one's nice.
Yeah, that
Four
one is
bedroom,
cute.
3 bath. Um, Lake Rochelle. Ooh, let's see. Um, oh yeah, it's in an ex flood zone, and the HOA is only 275 annually.
Okay. And that's
That's cheap. That's nice.
yes, it definitely is. But yeah,
You've
this
got
six
you've
look
got a lot of you've got 80
better.
homes to look at, and they're all they look. Some of these look really sweet.
Yeah, this one definitely fits the criteria that I'm looking for.
Okay. Let me go back here. Take a look at a few more. From the front of the houses, I mean, some of
Mhm.
these are just really. This is Southeast Winter Haven, which is pretty coveted. Let's take a look at it real quick. Let me see. Uh, okay. Oh, that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see where it was. I don't know if you can see the map. Oh yeah, that's that's in a nice area. This is in a really nice area. So let me get it back to the first picture. There we go. Now, what I want you to do when you're looking at these homes, Asia, is
Okay.
I want you to put on your detective cap. So when you look at these homes, I want you to blow them up, blow the pictures up, and look at everything and find as much fine detail as you can.
Oh,
Because I don't know if they do it on purpose. I don't think they do, but sometimes stuff gets hidden by the way that they have the camera angle or whatever.
oh,
And
I
you just
know.
want to be really, wary of that. Like when you're looking
Mhm.
at a kitchen, like here, you know, you want to see are there like if this wasn't a home that had been completely remodeled, you want to see are there cracks anywhere,
Cracks or unevenness.
are there blemishes, are there anything is there anything there that is going to stand out in your mind as a negative? Even here, if you were to see like the range top was all scuffed up and burned, you just want to make sure you pay attention to stuff like that. Yeah, these are nice homes and they're at a good price. So you're gonna have a lot of fun looking at this stuff, I'm telling you. And the price points, I mean, you can't get better than that. 259. The home prices have definitely leveled off, Asia. They have definitely leveled off. So this is more like what you're looking for, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So now you have the fun part. After we get done, You have the fun of looking through all of these homes and favoriting the ones you absolutely love.
Okay.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This was just dropped 50,000.
I think that's the exact house I sent you.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's the exact house that I sent you
Now
through
it's under
Zillow.
300. Yeah, now it's under 300.
Yeah.
Are you getting
That's
excited? Asia, are
yeah, a
you getting
little bit.
excited? I
Yeah, I
hope
try
you
not to
are.
get too excited though until it actually happens though.
Oh, it's going to happen. We're going to make sure it happens. One thing I will tell you is I'm very patient. Okay. So I'll give you an example. I had a young lady who was in the Air Force and she was going through a rough divorce. This is about 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Okay. Anyhow, she was going through a really rough divorce. She had 3 kids. And when we got together, she was just having a bad time. And her finances weren't that great. We put a couple of offers on homes and just didn't pan out. And so I just stuck with her. It took 3 years. Asia took 3 years. And I get a
Mm,
call back after, occasionally calling her up, seeing how her and the kids were doing and all this. I get a call back and she's like, Vince, you're not going to believe this. She goes, my divorce is final. I'm remarried. Everything's going great. I want to buy a house. From that point on, it was downhill, baby. And we got her into a
mm,
house.
nice.
So, don't sweat it. You have good finances. You're a bright person. You've been really good with your money. So I don't see where any of this is going to be a big issue for you. The main thing is making sure that we find the right house. And I want you to get that approval from your mom or whatever relative that you want to look at that house to make sure that you're seeing, well, they're seeing what you're seeing and what I'm seeing.
Okay.
Okay. Because what I would hate is, okay, I take the video, I do all of that. And then, because you're not going to be able to come in before closing and look at the house, and then you're not happy. Okay. So I want there to be somebody that you know that you trust that can go in there with me and look at that house and go, yeah, this is the house you want to buy. Or, you know what? I don't think she's really going to like that. And you guys talk about it and we work it out.
Okay.
Okay. I'd much rather you pass on something than buy something sight unseen. It's your first house. If you told me, Vince, I've bought 5 houses so far in my life, I know what I'm doing. Fine. That's cool. Not a big deal. Okay. You know what you're doing, just like that guy in Texas. He knew what he was doing, he knew what he was getting into, and he loved the house. They moved in, they had a blast. But because you're a first time home buyer, you don't know what you don't know. And I can only give you as much information as I can. I can't tell you what you're going to like when you actually step inside that house. It may feel completely different to you when you walk in it than it does when you're looking at video of it.
Hmm.
Okay. So having somebody you trust, whether it's your mom or, whomever, I think is going to be a much better way to make sure that, you're happy, you're comfortable, and everything's going to work out right.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
Nope.
All right. Fantastic. You have a wonderful day at work. I'll have that document sent to you either later tonight or tomorrow, and you can go
Okay.
ahead and sign it, and then I will send you both of my lenders, and you can choose whoever you want, but they usually do a pretty good job of qualifying people. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you can also have them let them know that you want to do a soft pull on your credit.
Oh yeah, I already have that in my notes. Yep.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. All right. Thank you so much, Asia. We'll talk to you soon.
You too. Nice
All
meeting
right.
you.
Bye bye.